Happy Sunday. It's a new month, new opportunities, new blessings. As I always do, I love to give everyone the greeting of the day. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Today's podcast, we're going to be discussing balancing perspectives. Now, listen, before we get into that, as I always do, I have some announcements that I would like to make. And these announcements are I want to do a recap from episode one to now. This is our 11th episode. Mm. Nothing like good tasty water. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in. I appreciate you. Everyone who's been along this ride with me doing this podcast, the Final Boss Podcast, and as your host, Turbo the CEO, sponsored by and brought to you by Trinity Entertainment and Trinity Music Group. Man, oh man, oh man. I always say man, oh man, oh man. We got some things to talk about. But like I said, before we get into it, we're going to do a recap of all the 11 shows. Can I get an awesome? Man, this summer, like the summer's over. Kids, I think kids go back to school in 2 weeks from now. It's crazy how fast time is moving. Right into it, man. Like I said before, thank you everyone for constantly tuning in and supporting me, my channel, my podcast. Remember, it's 30 seconds to like, share, subscribe. 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 Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. So, episode one, let's talk about it. Episode one was we talked about personal convictions, right? We talked about personal convictions and how personal convictions relate to you and how you have some of your personal convictions and things that you're very passionate about. We're gonna talk about empathy and passion later on, and when we dive into uh, balancing perspectives. And you would notice that each one of these episodes tie in into one another. So we go from personal convictions to survival tactics, or the first part of guns, and more guns, where um, Marcus and I, MD underscore ready, hit him up. We went to the gun range and we threw some rounds down range, but it also we informed you guys on, well, it was his talking points, um, on how to obtain your HQL, how to obtain your concealed carry, and any other credentials that you may be interested in. He gives those classes. So we went to the range, Black Alpha Tactical outdoor range, and we had an amazing time. And we were able to provide a lot of different talking points to you in reference to firearms training, and obtaining certain certificates. From there, we talked about words have power, words that have power, and we discussed. I laid out a discussion of 20 or more words that we hear on a daily basis and how it affects you and how those words have the ability to um, coach you in different directions. Not saying anything like, uh, no, I'm not going to use that word, but have the ability to assist you, and or I would say massage. Those words have the ability to massage your inner emotions, where certain topics. We're in the uh, election space. It's just this is prime time for the next election that's coming up, and a lot of those words have the ability to um, um, coerce you into um, certain pathways or decisions. After that, we talked about situation awareness and, and how going to wherever you're going, having your head on a swivel, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the people that are around you, being aware of the things that are happening in your space of wherever you at, whether it's work, whether you're at a recreational event, concert, or mall, and different places like that. Uh, Places with large populations. Picking up your kids from school. We talked about how America is known around the world for having mass shootings, and we discussed those as well. Um, and from situational awareness, we delve into the next topic, which was episode 5, which is one of my favorite, the bug out bag and how to build a bug out bag. And as a matter of fact, couple things to add to your bug out bag. So I disassembled my bug out bag, showed you the contents that were in my bug out bag, and then from there, I we had discussion on what each one or what was the purpose of each item. And we deconstructed and reconstructed the bug out bag. But I want you to add some more items to your bug out bag list. Go get you at least add this to your list. If you got notes, take these notes. At least 3 or 4 gas cans, a solar recharging device, and a solar radio system. They sell these things where they're wind up or it's solar powered, and you can charge your electric devices um, from solar power or from winding it up. Go get you some of those and those straws, those survival straws that turn any type of water with it has a crazy filtering system where it turns natural flowing water from streams, rivers into drinkable water, sustainable water. So add those things to your bug out bag list. 3 or 4 gas cans, a the drinkable straws, a solar recharging device, and a solar powered radio device. These things are critical for your bug out bag and for your ability to uh, escape or reroute from an emergency situation. Also, I don't know if you know this, it's a lot of talk and chatter about EMPs. Any EMPs, electronic magnetic pulse, kills electronic devices. That would be your cars, your devices. And the EMP would kill it. If you have some cash laying around, my recommendation is go get you a cheap old vehicle that doesn't have a solenoid switch in it. You have probably like why? Because the solenoid switch is like your it's like your I forgot. It's an organ that's in you, your thyroid. Boom, man. I'm glad I got that, man. So the solenoid switch is like your thyroid, right? Where it electricity gathers and it is dispersed. Like your thyroid, um, when that's a crazy analogy, and it's going to take longer to get into that. Well, they say during if we were exposed to radiation, the radiation collects in your thyroid and then it's dispersed throughout your body. So there are pills out there to protect your thyroid from radiation. That's my point. So after the bug out bag, we had episode 6, which was very, very important. I had Miss Cynthia Shinkanse come out and we did a four-part session that just concluded the other day on financial wealth health. And we talked about everything from life insurance policies, to IULs, um, to retirement, retirement programs, how to defer taxes. It was a gamut of stuff. But listen, hit her up. You can find her on Facebook. She's the wealth strategist. Her name is Cynthia Shinkanse. And you can look at episode 6 and get that information. It was 4 parts. Four. Where's the camera? Four parts to that. And we talked about various things on that. Then from that series, the next episode 7, I talked about emotional intelligence and the lack thereof. And by now, you've all heard that word or phrase thrown around: emotional intelligence, having or lacking emotional intelligence. We took a trip down that lane and we discussed different points dealing with emotional intelligence. From there, episode 8, which would have been one of my favorite, um, Johnny Rio and I were going to discuss uh, business as it relates to technology and incoming technology, and how the new cyber world and AI are affecting business transactions, consumers, and a whole host of things dealing with business, AI, and the new digital space that we're in. From there, that episode didn't happen. So Johnny Rio, we got to make that happen, bro. We got to make that happen. Like, we got to make that happen, man. Got to make that episode happen. So we weren't able to make that happen. So that episode is TBA. And from there, we went to episode 9, which was morality and individual reality. And I had a lot of different talking points that I discussed about how morality and individual reality is affecting us as a whole on a global space, where you have 8 billion people on the planet and each one of us are living our own reality. And in that reality, we're all the protagonists, right? But in but is that right? So that's what we discussed. We all can't be the protagonists. There's 8 billion people on the planet. We cannot all be the protagonists. That is inconceivable, right? It's just crazy. So from there, we went back to the range for part 2. And listen, part 3 is on the way. For part 2 of Guns, and More Guns with ND underscore ready Marcus, where we did how to zero a weapon and discussed home defense. So that was fun. It was in the rain. We were in the middle of a hurricane. Tornadoes was all around us. Cows and cats and dogs was flying. And I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. But we were able to get through it. The mud was up to our knees, and we had some good training. We did some tactical movement. We were able to zero 3 different weapons, and it was a good day. It was a long barrel one M4 with different with optics. It was a short barrel M4, and both of those were 5.56. The short barrel M4 was 8-inch barrel, 5.56 with a lower polymer. The lower receiver was polymer. That was fun. Then and lastly, we zeroed my my AK pistol, which is also short barrel, of course, because it's a pistol, AK pistol, uh, rifled in 7.62. And we got those all zeroed in knee high mud, crazy weather, but God protected us and we was good and we made that happen. It was a good show. So that brings us to tonight's episode, balancing perspectives. Now I know y'all probably thinking like, what is he talking about? Balancing perspectives. I'm talking about balancing perspectives as it relates to today's world and how crucial it is when you add the speed and complexity of technology. And then on top of that, the global issues that are affecting us right now. So a lot of people may be experiencing what I like to call information overload, right? Information overload. Mm. Balancing perspectives. You before I dive into that real quick, look around you, look at the things you enjoy and the things that bring you joy, the things that you're passionate about, and how sometimes we're able to show empathy for one thing and not show empathy for another because of our interests, right? And this has been across the board when it comes to a life of, for example, when it comes to a life of a human being. You would have your protests and the different things that you're compassionate about. For instance, the protesters that were down at the Capitol not too long ago, when and this was a heated emotional moment for me when they took down the American flag in front of the Union Station. It was three flags. They took down the three American flags in front of Union Station and raised Palestine flags. The level of disrespect in that, it's 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 crazy because I live and breathe and die for this nation. I've been in the military for 17. I was in the military for 17 years and did three deployments, two combat tours. So the level of disrespect, but I had to pull back from that, to remove the emotional piece from that, because if I was down there, or a lot of veterans who were down there when that happened, it might have gotten ugly. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to take a step back, remove the emotional piece from that, and understand the perspective and balancing that perspective. We are in a combative society. Red versus blue is rivals in everything. Why? Why is rivals in everything? This versus that, right? Republicans versus Democrats, the Commanders versus the Cowboys, my favorite team, the Rams and San Francisco. You you even have perspectives of rivalry and everything. Why is it in everything? Why do we get emotionally vested in all these things that we're compelled or drawn to, that bring us joy or that we like or love, right? It's crazy how that works, and you have to ask yourself, why is that? Competition makes money. That's all it is. It's always about the dollar. It's always about the dollar. I'm gonna say it again. It's always about the dollar. But I'm gonna reel that in. Y'all take that in. We're gonna talk about balancing perspectives and all the information that we just discussed. The rivalries is giving people information overload with the internet at your fingertips. Social media at your fingertips. People are being bombarded with information left and right. I know some of you, because I experience it. Sometimes I have memory problems. I'm like, damn, did not memory shot? Memory is shot. And you're constantly downloading and feeding your brain more information, countless information from all different types of sources. Now, that those sources and things, the overload, we talked a bit about in the morality and individual reality and how we're creating our own reality of likeness of things that we like and um not participating or not being involved in the opposition or the op as the kids would say today, not getting all the information, but we are um tunnel focused on what our beliefs are, and that's it. There's no balance in that. Where's the balance? There's no balance in that. These are creating echo chambers that I also talked about in the last episode, and you don't get to engage or reinforce other beliefs. You just are engaged in your beliefs and your belief system. It's important to have diversity. Listen, it's important to have diversity. We have to have diversity, diverse voices and opinions to give you a well-rounded understanding of the things that you see, the space that you live in, right? We're becoming polarized. Society is becoming polarized. We're experiencing heightened levels of polarization that 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 are enriched in these echo chambers. The news media, they are living and breathing in a prevalence of echo chambers. Where are the where's the diversity? There's no diversity in that, right? You're not being culturally aware because all your information that you're receiving is all streamlined and focused on what you are involved in, what you like, what you love. That's what we're becoming. We're becoming very polarized. There's no cultural awareness. The globe as a whole uh, doesn't have or isn't fostering mutual respect for people's beliefs. It's 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 becoming filled with what I see becoming hate in an unnatural manner, hate at the levels of I've never seen before. But we're all humans. We are all humans. We all bleed the same. If you strip the color away from us, all we are blood vessels, muscle tissue, carbon, bone. That's what we are. Why are we why the hate for somebody who's different or somebody who believes different than you do, right? We talked about emotional intelligence. We talked about emotional intelligence. That was episode 7. Having a balanced perspective equals emotional intelligence. It requires emotional intelligence. Recognizing emotional responses and not acting out on that emotional response. It's not necessary for you to act out because you're having an emotional response. You putting crazy stuff on social media. Everything's being recorded. People are dying in front of you, but instead of assisting them with medical assistance, you're recording it. Accidents, people getting shot. It's all tragic. Where is the emotional intelligence in that? There is none because we're not balancing our perspectives. You want to add that to uh real world real world applications, right? Politics, social issues, personal relationships, constructive solutions. You can't have constructive solutions and resolve if you don't have a balanced perspective. You can't always be right. You cannot always be right. You cannot be the protagonist at all times. You can't. It's not possible. You just can't do it. Successful resolution, conflict resolution. You have to be able to balance your those perspectives. Have an open mind and be understanding, right? Have an open mind and be understanding. The world is becoming so polarized. It dominates certain the discussions that people are having. People are even afraid to be in a relationship because somebody has opposing beliefs and thoughts on their political views, religion, across the board. This or that, this or that, this or that. Are you actively listening to what you're being told? Are you actively listening to what's happening in front of you? Using situational awareness. See how I tie that all in? We have lost the ability to cultivate empathy. Cultivating empathy, man. We have lost our way. We're not engaging in diverse communities. We're not assisting others. We're not teaching others about our cultural differences. We've lost that. But that's supposed to be America. That's what America's about. The melting pot, right? Everybody came here looking for freedom. We've allowed those who we put in power to dictate our beliefs and the things that we believe in when there's only a few absolutes. Few absolutes. One of the absolutes is you're going to die. That's an absolute. The Constitution is an absolute, right? But we've allowed the people we put in power to dictate us. They supposed to work for us, not us work for them. That's not how the political system is supposed to operate in America. It's topsy turvy right now. Topsy turvy. I put you in power. You're supposed to be helping the citizens of this country. But many people are struggling. How? We put you in power. We voted for you. The system of who's the better anti hero We got to get away from that. This one is better than this one, or this one is less evil than the other one. We got to get away from that, right? I encourage everyone who's listening to my show to take in my talking points. And my show is only 20 minutes. I probably went over a little bit tonight. The show is only 20 minutes, right? So when I was in the military, doing classes and getting information out, did a lot of classes, led classes. So 20 minutes is great. You get your talking points. You have you have 1 to 5 talking points. Those are your bullets. You lay your bullets out. Then you have your talking points, and then at the end you have a discussion. Boom, that's it. Outside of 20 minutes, man, people start losing them. Their attention span isn't what it used to be. You know, 20 minutes. That's why all my shows are 20 minutes, man. In and out. Pause. In and out. Pause. So I hope you were able to gravitate to the information that I highlighted. Let's foster different conversations of diversity and have the ability to be able to respect another person's opinion and belief. You don't have to hate that person. You don't have to be emotionally invested in what they believe in because they believe in something that you don't believe in. The indifference. We have to acknowledge these viewpoints, although they may be different. We have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge different cultures. Stop wasting time on the nonsense. Pay attention to what's in front of you. Situational awareness. I'm Turbo, the CEO. Building perspectives. Tonight's show brought to you by Trinity Entertainment, Trinity Music Group, and I'm signing off. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at youtube.com, the final boss _ podcast. I'm seeing that the show is already being copied. People stealing my logos. I'm like, bro, I guess that's flattery, you know. That's real flattery. But 32 minutes in? Sheesh. All right, I gotta go. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everyone's for coming on board, listening to my viewpoints. We're always gonna have a good time at the Final Boss podcast. I love you. Have a good night. It's Monday. Go get some rest. Goodbye.